I still entertain doubts about the manner of the crash of his helicopter. Was it an accident, or was it engineered by the enemies of peace for which Ashraf fought all his life? Garutara Mahasangaratne Navasara, Venerable clergy of the Muslim and Hindu religions, Madam Ferial Ashraf, Mr. Asad Sali in the chair, Aman Ashraf, Honorable Speaker, distinguished invitees, dear friends. I would first like to thank the National Unity Alliance and the organizers of this event for giving me the privilege of speaking at the commemoration of the 75th birth anniversary of one of Sri Lanka's great sons, and my dear friend and colleague, Mr. M.H.M. Ashraf, Minister and President's Council. I have problems in trying to decide where to begin, as Honorable Ashraf's life and works were so diverse and rich. His was a life of many travails, as well as resounding successes. He was a great human, with a very large heart, an exceptional intellect, and great ability to put his beliefs and thoughts into effective action, which is rare today amongst politicians. He had a vision that was humane whilst being practical. He loved everyone, big and small, rich and poor, of all communities. I know that he did not wish to see our nation divided into small parts and groups. He saw it as one big mass of humanity with a shared vision for progress. In short, he was an exceptional leader. Let me reminisce a little bit and go back into the past. I met Ashraf if my memory does not fail me, in 1993, whilst I was campaigning for the Provincial Council elections of the Western Province, while he was a Member of Parliament and the leader of the Muslim Congress, the SLMC. He sent a message secretly to me through a mutual friend requesting a meeting with me. The secrecy was probably due to the fact that we were living in the era of President Premadasa, and Ashraf was a member and leader of a minority community, and I was a political opponent of the incumbent regime. I did not know Ashraf then, and I thought, why does he want to meet me? I could postpone this, as I was extremely busy at the time, addressing 50 to 60 meetings a day, until well past midnight. I finally arranged a meeting after the messengers became strident. At Ashraf's request, at a friend's house, as we all knew my house was being watched by the secret police. He greeted me in a sincerely warm manner, and all my reservations about him melted away. He broached the main subject without losing much time, telling me that he was impressed by my statements on the resolution of the ethnic and religious issues in Sri Lanka, and that he was struck by the sincerity with which I expressed my vision. He added that he had not seen this in any other leader in this country. I could not help being very flattered, but I was mostly deeply touched by the sincerity of his statements and his warmth. He said that he would like to work with my party if I took leadership in it. I agreed on principle without much delay. I believe that at this moment, a mutual admiration society was born between Ashraf and CBK. I remember during the provincial council elections, Ashraf was addressing meetings all over, and we invited him to a meeting in my hometown, which was also going to be my electorate, Attanagalla. The meeting was in Beyangoda. I remember he addressed the meeting and excused himself because he had to go for many other meetings. And soon after he left the stage, I got up to speak. And I began my speech. And just at that time, I think it must have been 6 o'clock, the mosque close by started their evening prayers. I stopped my speech and asked everybody to keep a moment of silence while the prayers were going on. A few minutes now, we were silent, waiting for the prayers to end. I was hoping it will end soon. I suddenly see Ashraf returning to the stage, and I said, "What's up?" He said, "No, I just came to say how deeply touched I am and to thank you for what you did. Very few other Sinhala leaders would do this," he said. So, after my victory at the Western Provincial Council elections, and I assumed the post of Chief Minister, our association continued. I informed my party, the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, about the SLMC's willingness to work with us. The discussions continued, and the SLMC joined the coalition, the People's Alliance, for the general elections of 1994, and contested under the symbol of the People's Alliance, which was the chair. During the general elections of August 94, I and my party had very little contact with Mr. Ashraf and his party, as we were all desperately running around doing the election campaign. We met once formally with the leaders of the SLFP and the SLMC, where it was agreed that the SLMC would join our government if our coalition would be victorious at the elections. The election was won on 16th August 1994. Ashraf called me from Ampare, where he was contesting an electioneering, to say that he was flying down to meet me. However, matters were not so simple. A businessman close to the UNP and its prime ministerial candidate had sent a special plane to Ampare to bring him down to Colombo and was awaiting him when the helicopter landed to tell him that the leader of the UNP, the late Honorable Gamini Disanayake, was waiting to meet him immediately. Despite all the pressure that was put on him, Mr. Ashraf had said, "No, I'm first going to meet CBK as promised." I remember well, he arrived at my house in Rosmith Place, looking exhausted and in crumpled clothes. We sat down immediately in my small sitting room, and Ashraf said, "I will keep my word and will join your government. We'll help you to form the government." I asked him if he would join my cabinet, and he replied in the affirmative, but never canvassed for any positions for himself. Another rare feature amongst politicians. I told him that I would offer him an important ministry through which he could work for his people, an opportunity which had been denied to him by the previous governments. He had tears in his eyes as he got up and hugged me and thanked me profusely. The rest is modern history, well known to most of you here, I'm sure. Ashraf then assumed the post of Minister of Ports and Shipping and Muslim Affairs. Suffice it to say that MHM Ashraf was one of the most honest, intelligent and effective ministers in my cabinet. My government implemented the first ever public-private partnership undertaken by any Sri Lankan government in the port of Colombo, with my guidance and under his leadership. It was the first major development of the Colombo port since the British colonialists left our shores. This also brought in the biggest ever foreign investment to Sri Lanka until that time. The process was smooth and successful, as Ashraf gave it the correct leadership. His achievements were many as a cabinet minister and a member of parliament. He never forgot his commitment to his people, using his position in government to carry out many development projects in the eastern province. He did not discriminate against non-Muslims and non-Islamic communities in his home district or anywhere else when carrying out development work. He built a strong and effective party with a vision not only for his people but also for a united Sri Lanka. He brought many young people into politics and built some of them to be leaders. It is my lasting regret that the party he created with so little, which rose so high, is now split into many parts, thereby weakening the struggle of the Muslim community. Ashraf was passionate about the party he created, the Sri Lanka Muslim Congress, and strived to bring it into the national stream as a party committed to the upliftment not only of his people, but principally as a national party, standing shoulder to shoulder with all major parties representing all communities in our country. Amongst all his achievements, I would say the most essential one that should be written in letters of gold in the annals of our history is his contribution to the reconciliation process commenced by my government. He was one of the 4 or 5 architects of my year 2000 constitution, together with Honorable Neelan Tiruchelvam, G.L. Piris, and myself. He worked tirelessly at the drafting stage of the constitution, collecting statistics, analyzing them, and presenting them to us till the wee hours of the morning. Ashraf's commitment to national unity and reconciliation among all Sri Lankan citizens was truly amazing. He was utterly and totally committed to the upliftment of his people, and he always believed that to share with everyone was not to be less, but to be more of a human being. To share with everyone was not to be less, but to be more of a human being. He refused to see our nation divided into various parts and to see some communities as them and his community as us. To him, we were all us. I quote President Bill Clinton here, who said, "The most successful societies are those in which everyone has the possibility to empower their own lives, in which every voice is heard, and in which collaboration defeats conflict." I still entertain doubts about the manner of the crash of his helicopter. Was it an accident, or was it engineered by the enemies of peace for which Ashraf fought all his life? It is still a question which is unanswered. He and I both believed, as do the majority of our peoples, that the future progress of Sri Lanka lies in a shared vision and a collective effort to achieve our dream of an enlightened, prosperous nation, where diversity and not difference will reign supreme. Let us today salute an extraordinary political leader and a great Sri Lankan by committing ourselves to build a shared future for our nation based on his ideals. The time to start is now. Thank you.
உடனுக்குடன் செய்திகளை பெற்றுக்கொள்ள UTVயின் யூடியூப் தளத்தை சப்ஸ்கிரைப் செய்து கொள்வதுடன் பெல் ஐகானை அழுத்தவும்.